The world knows Elon Musk as a billionaire, an innovator, and the mind behind revolutionary companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink. His bold vision for the future often captures headlines. But what most people don't know is that Musk has a penchant for thinking outside the box in ways that surprise even his closest colleagues. This story begins with an unusual experiment, one that would challenge societal norms, expose biases, and deliver a life lesson about human nature. What would happen if one of the wealthiest men on Earth disguised himself as a homeless man and walked into a luxury car dealership? Would the staff treat him with respect, or would they judge him based on appearances alone? Musk's goal was simple but profound: to observe firsthand how people, even those in customer service, whose job it is to cater to all, treat those they perceive as less fortunate. What he uncovered would change lives forever. It all started on a sunny morning in Beverly Hills, California, a place synonymous with wealth and opulence. The high-end car dealership Musk chose for his undercover mission was well known for its luxurious offerings. Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Rolls-Royces gleamed under the bright showroom lights, their sleek bodies reflecting the essence of affluence. The dealership's clientele was as exclusive as the cars themselves. Celebrities, business tycoons, and royalty often graced its polished floors. On this particular day, however, a man shuffled into the dealership who seemed entirely out of place. His hair was messy, his beard unkempt, and his clothes looked like they had been pulled out of a donation bin. He wore scuffed sneakers, baggy jeans, and an old hoodie with faint stains. Clutched in his hand was a battered notebook, and his shoulders sagged under the weight of what seemed to be a lifetime of hardship. At least, that's what the employees thought. Little did they know, this disheveled figure was none other than Elon Musk, the mastermind behind the electric car revolution and one of the most powerful men on the planet. For this experiment, Musk had gone to great lengths to alter his appearance. Makeup artists and wardrobe specialists helped transform him into someone who looked like he hadn't seen a paycheck in years. He wanted to ensure that no one would recognize him, allowing the reactions he received to be entirely genuine. As Musk stepped into the dealership, the opulent surroundings seemed to magnify the contrast of his appearance. The first employee to notice him was a sharply dressed salesman in a tailored suit. The man's smile faltered as his eyes scanned Musk from head to toe. With a forced politeness, he approached and said, "Can I help you?" But the tone of his voice, tinged with skepticism, betrayed his true feelings. "Yes," Musk replied, his voice calm and unassuming. "I'm interested in buying a car." The salesman's eyebrows shot up in surprise, and a flicker of disbelief crossed his face. "Well, these are some of the finest vehicles in the world," he said, gesturing toward the gleaming lineup. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" Undeterred, Musk nodded. "I'm very sure," he said, his gaze steady. As the interaction unfolded, other employees began to notice the scene. Some whispered to each other, exchanging amused looks. One employee, a young woman in her 20s, stifled a laugh as she passed by. The air in the room was thick with judgment. Despite the cold reception, Musk remained composed. He began asking detailed questions about the cars, their specifications, features, and pricing. The salesman answered reluctantly at first, but his patience wore thin as the questions continued. "Listen," he said finally, his tone clipped. "These cars cost more than most people make in a year. Maybe you should try a different dealership." Just as the situation seemed to reach its breaking point, a different voice cut through the tension. "I'll help you," said Jordan, a junior employee who had been watching the interaction from afar. Jordan was new to the dealership and hadn't yet adopted the jaded attitude of some of his colleagues. Walking over with a friendly smile, Jordan extended his hand. "Hi, I'm Jordan," he said. "What kind of car are you interested in?" Musk's expression softened as he shook Jordan's hand. "Thank you," he said. "I'm curious about the new models you have in stock." As Jordan began explaining the features of the cars, his enthusiasm was genuine. He didn't seem to care about Musk's appearance or the whispers from his colleagues. Instead, he treated Musk with the same respect and attention he would give any other customer. For the next 20 minutes, the two engaged in a detailed discussion about the vehicles. Jordan answered Musk's questions thoughtfully and even suggested a test drive for one of the models. Meanwhile, the other employees watched in disbelief, shaking their heads at what they saw as a waste of time. Little did they know, this waste of time was about to make history. Musk's calm demeanor and Jordan's professionalism stood in stark contrast to the dismissive attitudes of the other staff. The experiment was revealing more than Musk had anticipated. It wasn't just about how people judged appearances. It was about the integrity of those who chose to look beyond them. As the conversation with Jordan continued, Musk began to drop subtle hints about his true identity. He asked technical questions about electric vehicles and shared insights that only someone deeply involved in the industry would know. Jordan's curiosity was piqued, but he remained focused on providing excellent service. By the time Musk decided to reveal who he was, the atmosphere in the dealership had shifted. The staff, who had initially ignored or ridiculed him, now watched with a mix of curiosity and unease. When Musk finally pulled out his Tesla executive card and identified himself, the room fell silent. The revelation would soon lead to a shocking ending that none of them could have anticipated. One that would change lives and deliver an unforgettable lesson about empathy, respect, and the power of integrity. The sun climbed steadily into the sky, its golden rays casting a warm glow across the bustling streets of Beverly Hills. This was a neighborhood synonymous with wealth and luxury, where sleek cars gilded effortlessly down wide boulevards and impeccably dressed individuals moved with purpose between high-end boutiques. Amidst this glittering scene of opulence, a single figure stood out, not because of extravagance, but because of its stark simplicity. Dressed in threadbare jeans, a faded hoodie, and scuffed sneakers, a man loitered on the sidewalk with a battered backpack slung over one shoulder. Strangers glanced at him briefly before looking away, their expressions a mix of curiosity and quiet judgment. This man, however, was no ordinary drifter. Beneath the unkempt hair and casual attire was Elon Musk, the billionaire CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. The idea for this unorthodox venture had come to Musk weeks earlier during a late-night brainstorming session in his sprawling Los Angeles home. While scribbling down ideas for his next project, he paused to reflect on a question. How do we innovate compassion? The phrase lingered in his mind. As a man who had revolutionized industries with his bold, unconventional ideas, Musk found himself intrigued by the limits of human empathy and its role in driving societal progress. What if people judged less and listened more? He wondered. A seed of an idea began to sprout an experiment to immerse himself in the experience of those society often overlooked, to see the world through their eyes. Weeks of meticulous planning followed. Musk decided the setting for his experiment would be a luxury car dealership known for its exclusivity and clientele of the ultra-wealthy. Rumors of its elitist culture made it the perfect backdrop for his investigation into human behavior. On this day, Elon Musk wasn't the billionaire visionary behind Tesla. He was just another man trying to navigate a world that valued appearances over substance. As he approached the dealership, the contrast between his appearance and the pristine surroundings became increasingly apparent. The building's floor-to-ceiling windows gleamed in the sunlight, offering a glimpse into a showroom filled with gleaming vehicles and impeccably dressed sales staff. Musk paused outside, observing the scene with the curiosity of an outsider. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the heavy glass door and stepped inside. The interior of the dealership exuded affluence. Polished marble floors reflected the dazzling array of luxury vehicles, each one a masterpiece of engineering. The air was cool, carrying a faint aroma of leather and fresh wax. Salespeople moved with the grace of performers, their smiles carefully calibrated to charm and reassure. Heads turned briefly as Musk entered, the eyes of staff and customers alike flicking over him in silent appraisal. Dismissive glances followed him as he made his way deeper into the showroom. Musk approached the reception desk, where a young woman sat behind a sleek computer monitor. She looked up, her professional smile faltering slightly as she took in his appearance. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone polite but tinged with indifference. "Hi," Musk replied, his voice steady. "I'm here to learn more about your vehicles." Her gaze flickered to his scuffed sneakers before returning to his face. "Do you have an appointment?" she inquired, though her expression suggested she already knew the answer. "No," Musk admitted simply. She hesitated, then gestured toward the showroom. "Feel free to look around. Someone will be with you shortly." Musk nodded in thanks and wandered deeper into the space. He was acutely aware of the whispers and sidelong glances that followed him. The salespeople who weren't actively engaged with clients found reasons to avoid eye contact, their body language subtly dismissive. Customers cast him curious but fleeting glances before returning to their conversations. Stopping in front of a cobalt blue convertible displayed under a spotlight, Musk crouched to inspect the tires, only to hear a sharp voice behind him. "Can I help you?" Straightening, Musk turned to face a middle-aged salesman dressed in a tailored suit. The man's expression was carefully neutral, though his eyes betrayed a hint of skepticism. Yes. Musk replied evenly. I'm curious about the price of this model. The salesman's gaze dropped briefly to Musk's shoes before returning to his face. It's quite expensive, he said, his tone polite but condescending. Perhaps something in our pre-owned it section would be more suitable. Musk's lips quivered in a faint smile. I'm interested in this model, he insisted. The salesman hesitated, visibly debating whether to continue the interaction. Finally, he said, let me check on that for you. Before walking away, Musk noted that the man didn't return. As the minutes stretched into an hour, Musk continued to explore the showroom, observing not only the cars, but also the behavior of the people around him. The disparity in treatment was glaring. Well-dressed clients were showered with attention, their every question met with enthusiasm and deference. Meanwhile, Musk's attempts to engage staff were met with curt answers or outright avoidance. But then, something unexpected happened. Near the edge of the showroom, Musk noticed a younger employee meticulously arranging brochures. Unlike their colleagues, this person hadn't laughed, whispered, or avoided eye contact. Intrigued, Musk approached them. Excuse me, he began. Could you tell me more about this model? He gestured toward a sleek electric car parked nearby. The employee looked up, their expression polite but cautious. Of course, they replied. What would you like to know? For the first time that day, Musk felt as though he was being treated with genuine respect. The employee explained the car's features with clarity and enthusiasm, answering each of Musk's questions thoughtfully. Their demeanor was professional, devoid of the arrogance or skepticism he had encountered earlier. You seem to know a lot about these cars, Musk remarked, stepping back from the vehicle. The employee smiled, a touch of pride lighting their face. I've always loved cars, especially ones that push the boundaries of innovation. That's part of why I joined this dealership, to learn more about the cutting edge of automotive technology. Musk nodded, impressed. Their passion reminded him of his own beginnings, back when he was dismissed as a dreamer with impractical ideas. After thanking the employee, Musk wandered back toward the entrance, mentally preparing for the final stage of his experiment. The time to reveal his identity was drawing near, and with it, an opportunity to highlight the lessons he'd learned. He approached the young employee again, who was now organizing materials at a counter. I have one more question for you, Musk said. Of course. What do you need? Musk smiled. What's the most expensive car you have here? The employee blinked, slightly surprised. That would be the Crimson E-Class over there, they said, pointing to a sleek vehicle displayed under soft lights. It's fully loaded and priced at just over $250,000. Musk nodded thoughtfully. How long would it take to finalize a purchase? A couple of hours. Usually, they replied. Are you interested in that car? Very, Musk said, his tone steady. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a sleek black card that caught the light, its platinum sheen unmistakable. The employee's eyes widened slightly, but quickly returned to professionalism. Around the room, other staff members and customers froze, their earlier assumptions unraveling in an instant. Wait, the employee stammered. Are you Elon Musk? Musk extended his hand with a smile. Nice to meet you, he said. The employee's expression shifted from surprise to awe. As the room buzzed with murmurs, Musk's gaze swept over the other sales staff. Their earlier indifference had morphed into expressions of regret and unease. Ignoring them, Musk turned back to the young employee. I'll take the E-Class, he said. And while we're at it, I have another offer for you. The employee blinked. An offer? Yes, Musk said. How would you like to join Tesla? We're always looking for people who care about what they do and how they treat others. From what I've seen today, you're exactly the kind of person we need. The employee's jaw dropped, their disbelief quickly giving way to excitement. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Musk replied with a grin. It's only the beginning of what you're capable of. The room erupted into applause as Musk's words sunk in. It wasn't just a lesson in humility and kindness. It was a reminder that beneath the surface, extraordinary potential exists in everyone. The dealership buzzed with a renewed energy as Musk finalized the paperwork for the Crimson E-Class. Whispers of his identity spread like wildfire, and with it, a palpable shift in attitude among the staff and customers. For many, the encounter wasn't just about the sale. It was a moment of introspection, a vivid reminder of the importance of treating everyone with respect, regardless of appearance or status. The once dismissive salespeople now moved with a sense of urgency, their smiles broader, their voices warmer. The energy was different, more human, more connected. The luxury that had once defined the dealership seemed secondary to the shared understanding that had been created. Customers who had previously been absorbed in their own conversations exchanged knowing glances, as if to acknowledge the deeper lesson unfolding around them. Meanwhile, Musk settled into the driver's seat of the sleek car, the crimson leather soft beneath his fingers. The young employee who had guided him earlier stood beside him, watching with a mixture of awe and curiosity. "Thank you," they murmured, "for everything." Musk adjusted the rearview mirror, his gaze reflecting the stories playing out around him, the humbling experiences of being overlooked, dismissed, and underestimated. It wasn't just about the experiment anymore. It had become something far more profound. "Remember," he said softly, "it's the small acts of kindness that change the world." The words hung in the air, resonating with the people now gathered near the showroom windows. Watching as Musk eased the car out of the dealership, the sleek vehicle glided smoothly onto the road, leaving behind a scene that would remain etched in the memories of those who had witnessed it. As the car weaved through the streets of Beverly Hills, Musk reflected on the journey he had undertaken, one not just of observation, but of transformation. He had entered that dealership to understand the limits of human empathy. But what he found was something far richer: the power of recognition, the dignity in every individual's story, no matter their background or status. Back at the dealership, conversations shifted. Formerly superficial exchanges gave way to more heartfelt interactions. Staff members began to seek deeper connections with their clients, not simply selling cars, but sharing experiences and stories. The culture within the showroom began to evolve, a space where authenticity mattered more than appearances. Musk's departure was quietly celebrated by those who understood the significance of what had transpired. The dealership had been a microcosm of societal norms, where assumptions and prejudices governed interactions. Yet here, in this moment, the facade had crumbled. It was a reminder that beneath wealth, beneath luxury, was the human condition, the need for understanding, compassion, and genuine connection. The sun continued its journey across the sky, but the impact of Musk's experiment would linger far beyond the daylight hours. In that simple gesture of buying a car, he had sparked something deeper: a conversation about empathy, understanding, and the power of human connection. His challenge to judge less and listen more had not only influenced the dealership but had planted seeds for change in the broader world beyond. As Musk navigated the streets of Los Angeles, thoughts of what lay ahead filled his mind. He knew this wasn't the end of the journey, it was only the beginning of a broader initiative to create spaces where authenticity, empathy, and innovation could thrive together. His experiment had proven that when people are seen beyond their surface identities, real transformation becomes possible. In a city where image often outshines substance, Elon Musk had shown that true power lies not in wealth or influence, but in the ability to connect, to break down barriers, and foster understanding. His drive wasn't simply about revolutionary technology, it was about revolutionizing the way society interacts. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in hues of orange and pink, Musk knew that the spark of change had been ignited.